All right, hi everyone. Curated a lot of unique trends for you. We've been at it for quite a while, so let's get right into it. Before I begin, I just want to make sure that everyone knows and are familiar with what Building Stack is all about. It was created nearly 15 years ago out of Montreal, which is probably a good thing. Quebec market is typically a lot more complicated. There's a lot more rules, regulations, so kind of building something that respects all of that, even like with some of the new privacy laws, it's a good thing for the rest of the country. I would say that we specialize in two main modules, lead to lease lifecycle, as well as tenant lifecycle. We pick up where Rentsync historically has kind of been leaving off. So just to walk you through quickly, lead would come in, you would have a conversation with the prospect, manage and schedule showings, send out an application to be filled out, process a credit check, get your deposit, sign a lease that's pre-filled digitally, and then mazel tov, you have a new tenant. So I would say that's one workflow. The following workflow would be once someone moves in, setting up pre-authorized debit rent payments or scheduling rent payments to run smoothly throughout the tenancy, having a way to communicate with the tenants, to schedule any amenities or reservations, managing leases, managing who paid, who didn't pay, renewals, renter's insurance, those types of things, I would say would fall into the tenant lifecycle features. Big, big part of today is going deep behind platform usage, so just want to talk about myself behind the scenes very quickly. Super fan of the Miami Dolphins. I was there this weekend, big win, exciting. Big connoisseur of sake, and also I am a retired chicken farmer, and I'm wearing chicken socks. So there's a lot of different types of leasing workflows or life cycles that people in the room are doing day to day. I always get a little bit disappointed when I hear people using 3-4 different tools. For this chart, I classify those operations as outdated. I would say the average workflow that I consider a little bit outdated would be, the lead comes in, manually scheduling tours, struggling to make sure that the people show up to see the unit, filling out an application on paper, scanning it, emailing it back, credit checks being filled out manually, deposits by check or in person, cash, doesn't make sense. Leases being typed, one letter, one number at a time, or sign in person. If you're doing most of those things, based on our data, I would expect the leasing delay to be roughly 17 days. So we added a new line here. A unique aspect of using an all-in-one solution to manage all the above and centralizing things, will help you bounce around less. So if you're not signing in and signing out and copying and pasting and doing things by hand, naturally you're going to save quite a bit of time. So we see leasing timelines to be dropping by almost a full week if you're using one tool to do all of the above. And if you set up some leasing automations, you'll save even more time. And just to repeat some of the numbers that Sue just presented a few minutes ago, we're finding that with Instant Lease, you're shaving the leasing timeline down to roughly 2 days. I mean, minus someone coming and seeing the unit in person. If they're serious, if everything they need, one workflow, just one thing after the other, that they fill out the application, they sign it, they submit a payment, they review the lease, they sign it, it's there, management has the time to review it if it looks good, countersign, done. It's pretty drastic. So some of the takeaways, using a single platform definitely will make it easier for prospects to apply and sign the lease online. Centralization is going to make it easy for your team to find all the information, to review it, to process it extremely quickly, reducing any back and forth. You get everything that you need right away, less touch points. It's extremely frictionless. You're really separating serious prospects from non-serious prospects. There should be a reduce and drop off. And you also kind of cut out shopping from a prospect looking at your neighbor and saying, what's taking so long? What else is in the area? You really get down to brass tacks right away. It's the most efficient solution for the leasing team. Online rent payments, it's a personal favorite feature of mine. Prior to my journey in PropTech, I was managing a few thousand units around Montreal, and a big part of my job was collecting rent checks and stacks of cash and schlepping it to the bank and e-transfers and matching passwords. Which unit is this for? A lot of those frustrating things contributed to me co-founding Building Stack with Pablo, who's hiding back there. When a tenant logs into the tenant portal, one of the things they can do is pay their rent online by pre-authorized debit, connecting to their bank, paying by debit card or credit card. So let's talk about some of those stats. I'm happy to report that we found more tenants are paying their rent more on time than ever before. Just to explain what a late payment is, we consider a late payment any payment between the 2nd and the 27th of each month. We're basing this on roughly 750,000 of the past rent payments processed online. Let's dive in. Enabling pre-authorized debit is a driving factor in more tenants paying their rent online. You can expect to receive roughly 40% of total rents to be paid without having PAD enabled on time. And as soon as PAD's enabled, that number jumps up to nearly 80%. Roughly, you're collecting 2 times more rents on time. It's a fact. Building Stack allows tenants to set up PAD when they sign up. If they're using Instant Lease, they can sign up for PAD during the leasing process. Employees can set up PAD on tenants' behalf. There's a lot of flexibility. If this is done, it's going to drive it up even higher. Couple charts here. On the left, it's tenant payment habits with PAD off. It's kind of a free-for-all. People are paying whenever they want throughout the month. 20% of rents would be paid on the first, and then this not too good-looking chart or trend throughout the month. It does make sense. On the right, as soon as PAD is turned on, you're going to see right away a 3x increase of on-time rent payments being made on the first of the month, 60% right off the bat. Most of your accounting will be done in the first couple days of the month if this is happening, and everyone will save a lot of time. I did also want to mention that it's come up so many times, and I feel that it's a little bit of a misconception that landlords have to control PADs. No, fill out this paper, give it to me, I'm typing it on your behalf. It's not the best. It's a lot better. Give the tenant flexibility, offer the convenience, let them set it up. You'll save time. They'll put in the exact information, like they know they have to pay the rent. That's something that we offer, and it will help these numbers increase. I will show you why. If you look into the numbers a little bit further in detail, of the 40% increase in on-time rent payments, 6% just came from tenants signing up their own PADs. So that's something that was significant enough that I want to make sure that we covered and you're all aware of. And then other benefits, you're not collecting super sensitive information on paper, putting it in a filing cabinet, Google Drives, less management of NSFs and billing fees back to people. It's a big time saving not to have to fill out PADs over and over again. Concerning trend alert, NSFs on average are going up over time. There's a number of factors, possibly rental prices going up, financial difficulty perhaps, could be a lot of different things. Couple possible solutions. Consider running a more detailed credit check process. A lot of landlords don't run credit checks, or they'll run a soft credit check. I know someone who uses his intuition. It's not quite the best. Like, this will save you money and time managing NSFs. Definitely make sure that your leases have some language, some clear wording that allows you to at least charge back and collect a few dollars for the trouble. And just a little bit added context before I move on. If a tenant on Building Stack pays their rent by connecting to their bank, we're actually going to make sure and ping their bank account to make sure that there's enough funds before we allow the payment to go through. In 2023, 37% of online rent payments on the platform were from people that connected to their bank. So despite this trend going up, it'd be even higher if we didn't have that in place. Spend your time monitoring pad usage and encouraging more pads to be created instead of doing it yourself. Let our support team, led by Owen, help tenants figure out what a transit number is, so you and your managers and your team isn't wasting time with things like that that we could bang out very quickly at scale. And then again, NSFs, it's growing, so I just want to kind of double down on that comment. Make sure your leases have clear wording, and consider a platform like ours that help reduce NSFs and allow you to easily charge it back to tenants. Tenant communication. Categories are mandatory when a tenant creates a work order on the platform in the tenant portal. This pie chart breaks down some of the most frequent used categories over a long period of time from the history of Building Stack. There's a lot of different categories that can be chosen from. The good news is, depending on the category, depending on the priority that you're setting internally, it can be automatically dispatched to the best person in your organization. It's good for both lean companies, larger operations, helps speed things up, gets tickets to the right person right away without a big delay. Some of our customers are even adding vendors, third-party vendors, plumbers, electricians, maintenance people that kind of come into the building frequently and just send them directly a specific category of ticket for even more added efficiency. So with the ability to get granular, you'll be able to become more efficient, setting up dispatch, understanding where money is being spent, possibly wasted. Just want to hammer this point one more time. We'll talk about SLAs. One item on the platform that I would highly encourage is setting a service level that you want to provide your tenant base. You can create reminders for your team, whoever's assigned to the ticket, based on a specific time frame. If someone didn't respond to this ticket by this day, remind us, create a report, email it to us, make sure we're aware. Goes for response for a ticket, resolving a ticket based on priorities. To me, this is offering the highest possible level of service to tenants. Set this up, and you kind of go from the top down, starting with your organization. Every single message, status update, click throughout the platform with respect to communication is timestamped. So essentially, you know exactly how good of a job or not the team members are doing. You could identify interesting trends, make better staffing decisions. So here I just want to compare with service level agreements on the read, response, and resolution times are going down across the board. Do you think you could do better than the national averages on the left? We also allow the ability to collect satisfaction of tenants. So every time a ticket is closed, you're able to say, how good of a job did we do? How happy are you? Do you have comments for us? I see a lot of landlords, close a work order, and then they kind of close their ears too. They don't really want to hear what the feedback is. They just want to keep going. Many landlords are not like that as well, but just want to kind of show the difference between the two. If you want to provide the best possible experience to your tenants, turn on this feature, and work on increasing tenant retention. We're just talking about that a few minutes ago. This is a good way of working on increasing your retention. We identified some other trends by turning this on. Definitely seem to have some pretty happy tenants on the platform. What's the average? 3.9, pretty solid. And property managers who implement SLA tend to get a higher positive feedback rating versus companies that don't. What time are tenants actually using the platform? We definitely see a ramp up based on historic usage starting at around 7 a.m. Peak usage seems to be occurring roughly between 10 and 1 p.m. With this data, a couple conclusions jump out. One, consider scheduling a ticket to be automatically sent out during peak hours, increase visibility. This is global data from many, many different data points. You can generate your own reports in the platform, analyze when your peak times are, and provide a more focused service to your tenant base. The default method for tickets is email. However, you could also send out an automated voice call, text message, push notification. So I just want to show the difference here that if you send an email versus email plus phone plus text, you could expect an 8% increase in your tenant base from seeing the message. Pretty significant, and it's definitely a big upgrade over when I was growing up in the industry, putting a piece of paper in the hallway or in the elevator and they get ripped off and people draw on it. This is the way you should be communicating messages. Covered a lot of different ways of enhancing communication in this last section. So I wanted to encourage everyone, take the time, try to gather some statistics for your operation, spend some time understanding how your portfolio is working behind the scenes, and try to optimize your operation. It's not as hard as you think.